all, let me thank the senator from Nebraska for allowing me to come in immediately following his remarks. Mr. President, an amendment was just offered by the minority leader, and let me explain what this is. As the former chairman of the Environment and Public Works Committee, and then now the ranking member, we have been very much concerned for a long period of time over what they're trying to do with cap and trade. All the way back to the Kyoto Treaty, we recognized, and then all the way through the about 5 different bills that were introduced and debated on the Senate floor, we recognized the cost, the incredible cost of what it would be to the American people if we were to pass cap and trade legislation. Now, the interesting thing about this is the most votes that were in the United States Senate at any one time in order to pass cap and trade were about 30 votes. Obviously, it takes a lot more than that. And so what this administration did was saying, all right, if you're not going to pass cap and trade regulation, let's keep in mind what that is. That would end up being the largest tax increase in the history of America on the American people. If you're not going to do it through legislation, we'll do it through our regulations through the Environmental Protection Agency. And so there was an endangerment finding, and the administrator of the EPA had the endangerment finding, and it was based on the IPCC flawed science, but nonetheless, it was there. And so they started on a route to regulate CO2 through regulations. Now let's stop and think about what that would be. The cost that we have determined over a period of 10 years now to take over the regulation of and have in fact a type of cap and trade through legislation or by regulation would be about $300 to $400 billion a year. Now, I went ahead and did a calculation as to what that would cost my average family in the state of Oklahoma, and it was about $3,000 for each family that pays, that actually files a tax return. Now, you have to ask the question, what do you get if you pass this? First of all, I think most of the people right now are concerned with the price of gasoline at the pump. It's going up again, and I would suggest to you that this is not market forces that are forcing the price up. It is nothing less than just the regulation. We have an administration, Mr. President, who is doing all they can to kill fossil fuels in America. Right now, the most recent, let's put the chart up there showing that we have in the United States, and this has all happened within the last year, we have the largest recoverable reserves in oil, coal, and gas of any other country in America. In fact, our reserves right there, you can see recoverable reserves are astronomical compared to China, Iran, Canada, and some of the other countries. Now, the problem we have is a political problem. We have a political problem. We are not allowed to go ahead and exploit our own reserves. And so it's a simple supply and demand thing. I think there's not a person in this probably listening to us right now who hasn't studied supply and demand, the basics back in school. And if we have all of this supply over here, then why can't we exploit this supply? Right now, let's see the chart that you have on the other one. To give you an idea of what we have, and this is just, let's just take coal reserves. We have 28% of all the world's coal reserves. We're exploiting right now clean coal technology, being very successful. We have, in addition to this, oil and gas reserves, but the problem we have is a political problem. It was the Secretary of Energy, Stephen Chu, who made this statement. It was in the Wall Street Journal. He said, somehow we have to figure out how to boost the price of gasoline to levels in Europe. I want you to listen to that, Mr. President, to boost the price of gasoline to the levels in Europe. Right now, the levels in Europe are $8 a gallon. Now, that's what this administration wants us to pay. Now, why do they want that? They want that so that we'll be priced out of using fossil fuels. And we're talking about oil, gas, and coal. So right now, we are faced with this, and quite frankly, as we speak, this very moment, over in the House of Representatives, they are taking up what they call the Upton-Inhofe amendment or bill, and that's the same amendment